everyone, it's Lauren Alvin with Add a Pup Dog and Puppy Training, Training Tip Tuesdays. It's a lecture one, but I'll make it as quick as I can. And this is a really good one because it answers just about every training question ever. It's a formula. If you have a background in psychology or education, this is applied behavior analysis. That's all it is, but for dogs, with different words and different brains. But it's the same science. Behavior change is the same science. So if your dog is doing something you don't want them to do, there's 3 questions to ask yourself and 3 answers I'm going to give you. This is sort of loosely based, like I said, it's applied behavior analysis, but the questions come from Pat Miller, an author. She calls it the 3 keys to changing behavior. I call it teach, prevent, pay, because it's a little easier just to remember 3 words than 3 questions, but I'm going to do them both. 3 questions are, what do I want the dog to actually do? You can't train a dog not to do something. You can't train them not to chase cats, but you can train them to look at me when the cat runs by, or lay on your bed when I ask you to, or recall off of a cat. But we can't train a vacuum. We can't train a negative. So what do I want the dog actually to do? What do I want them to be doing in this situation? And you teach them how to do it. They may not know how to do it, and they certainly don't know how to do it in that situation because that's not what they're doing in that situation. So you have to install in their brain the ability to sit. There we go. So we teach it. Prevent. We need to prevent them from practicing the behavior, and we need to prevent them from being paid for the behavior. The best thing you can do is to prevent it from happening in the first place. Set the stage so the dog doesn't even make that decision. It doesn't even occur to them. So if you know that your dog jumps up when people come in the door, you're not going to give them a chance to jump up. That could mean putting them in the other room until they're ready to handle people coming in the door, or you put them on leash so they can't, jump on people, which is part of the second one. Second best thing is prevent them from being paid. So if it's already happened, if the dog's already jumping on you, the second best thing to do is go, whoop, sorry, turn around in your fancy chair, sorry, all your attention has gone away. That made the thing you want actually go away. That's not effective. If you want to do something, then I'm going to pay you for the other one. But the second best thing is remove all reinforcement. Don't put a deposit in. First best is to prevent them from ever going down the pathway of, I'm excited, jump up. I'm excited, jump up. And we pay. We pay handsomely for the new behavior. Dogs do what works for dogs. If a behavior is effective, somehow, they're going to keep doing it. If a behavior is still sticking around, it's still effective somehow. They're still being reinforced for it somehow. So, dogs' factory presets are, I'm excited, I jump up. It's already pretty big in their brain. But every single time they practice it, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It becomes their default. Brains are all about making shortcuts. So, if you've got this neural pathway and this little neural pathway, they're going to make that one, obviously. There's a spring on the end for jumping. We are going to prevent them from going down the old neural pathway, which means we are going to put up management scenarios and roadblocks. They're not going to practice it anymore. If you don't practice something, I have not practiced the trumpet since 3rd grade, and I barely did it then. I'm not going to be able to play it. If you don't practice something, your neural pathway is going to shrivel up and die. Not only is the dog not practicing it, but even if they do accidentally go down that old pathway, they're not getting paid. There's nothing at the end. It's just a dead end. So this one's not getting paid. They're not using it anymore. This one, however, you're teaching them how to do it in practice sessions. They're getting paid for it in real life whenever they make it, and in practice sessions, this gets really handsomely rewarded. This becomes their new default. Which pathway are you going to take? The one that you never do and that doesn't make any sense to do at all? Or the one that gets you everything you wanted that you do every day? Boop, that one. We pay them handsomely when they do get it right. We prevent them from being paid, and especially from practicing at all, the old one, and we teach them exactly what we want them to do. Otherwise, they wouldn't know what to do. So again, dogs do what works for dogs. One of them works, the other one doesn't. They ain't dumb, they're going to do that. But there are some little things here in between that make this doable and not doable. Part of it is finding what your dog's capable of. If your dog has only practiced polite greetings for 5 minutes once in class, and then you go to your kid's elementary school and there's children streaming out and screaming out of the building going, "Puppy!" And the dog's going, "Yes!" They're not ready for it yet. They've only laid, a teeny tiny pathway so far with just like $5 in that behavior savings account. There's no reason that they would do that. Dogs do what works for dogs. They do what makes the most sense. And jumping up in that situation is obviously going to make the most sense. So let's do some other examples. Let's talk about, I'll draw it because it'll help keep me on track. Let's talk about attention barking. So a dog who's bark, 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 pay attention to me, I'm stealing the pillows off the couch, etc. I want something to do. So when you're a bored dog, I'm bored, entertain myself. I'm bored, chew stuff apart. I'm bored, go scavenge. I'm bored, chase the kitty cat. Any sort of, the dog's driving me wild. It's just what dogs do. They find entertainment. So part of that's factory preset, and part of it is it's really fun to chase kitty cats, I would imagine. And it's fun to tear stuff apart because you're a dog, and I'll just draw a dog there. I have a degree in art, by the way. There you go. There's a doggy. It feels good. They're going to keep doing it. So if we don't want the dog to tear apart pillows, then we're going to prevent them from tearing apart pillows. We're going to prevent them from practicing it. We're going to prevent them from being paid for it. Payment for tearing apart pillows is tearing apart pillows, so you don't get to tear apart pillows. That might mean you throw all of the pillows in your house out. That might mean that you don't have pillows on the couch anymore, and any pillows you do have are in a room behind a gate or a shut door. That would be pretty much it. Or you put all your pillows, maybe you have a teeny tiny dog and you put them all where they can't reach. You prevent them from practicing the behavior, you prevent them from being paid. If the dog already has a pillow in their mouth, you're going to trade them for it, put it away, and then go, "Stupid human, I should have watched the dog closer next time." It's kind of a one-off. We're going to teach them something else. We could teach them to drop items on cue. We could teach them to only chew on appropriate items. And we could teach them, recalls or something, nose target, something else. The other way to prevent this from happening is to give them lots of entertainment. The dog is doing this for a reason. The dog might like pillows, but they also need something to do. So you're going to prevent it from happening by putting your pillows away and by knowing that my dog is bored and they need something to do. So you're going to give them, go get dollar stuffed animals from Goodwill if they like tearing stuffing so much. Go give them that. They have an appropriate outlet for it. More brain games, exercise and enrichment, something, so they don't have that steam they have to take out somewhere else. All right, so they're not practicing it, they're not getting paid for it because they're not doing it at all. That's going to shrivel up and die. You've got all these new ones, chewing on appropriate items, tearing apart Goodwill stuffed animals, nose targets, recalls, drop-its, whatever it is. All of these are going to have nice paychecks at the end. They're all different options that you can catch. What the dog's going to do instead. There you go. Let's do one more. Attention barking. So, let's do counter surfing, because that's another common one. Okay. Dogs are opportunistic scavengers. This is very much factory preset in their brain. Find food, eat it. Find food, eat it. That is a big highway for dogs. It's who they are, it's what they do. It's not a big deal. So, what I want the dog to do instead. Dog comes into the kitchen and there's a turkey dinner on the counter. I want the dog to keep 4 on the floor and leave it alone. That's really all I care about. You could teach your dog to go to their bed in the kitchen. You could teach them to sit. You could teach them to spin around in a circle, but I'm good enough with a dog who just ignores it. They're just staying on the floor. So, we're going to prevent the old one, putting up the roadblock for the turkey dinner. There we go, the turkey dinner. That means dog's not allowed in the kitchen if there's food out, or there's never any food on the counter. If you know that you have neighbors that never get the good bags and all the starlings and raccoons are like tearing it apart, and then you've got T-bone steaks and sidewalk pizza all over the place, avoid their house on walks. Yes. Roadkill, avoid the spots. Just avoid it if it's out and about. So we've prevented it from happening, prevent them from being paid. If they do jump up on the counter, if you're making something, just make sure they're not getting anything and use that as information that they're not succeeding, you need to change the picture somehow to actually prevent it from happening. All right, we're gonna teach them something else. We're gonna teach the dog leave it. We're gonna teach the dog trade or drop it. And we can do, impulse control, food manners too. That's always fun. So they're not practicing the old one. Oh, I'm sorry, 4 on the floor in the kitchen is another practical one. So they're not jumping up on the counter. They're not finding food there. But every time we go in the kitchen, Mom's got clicker and treats. We go up to the counter. I keep my feet on the floor and I get paid. She opens the fridge. I keep my feet on the floor. I get paid. She opens the cupboards and takes out crackers. I keep my feet on the floor. I get paid, etc., etc. And then, she takes meat out of the fridge and starts to cook it. I keep my feet on the floor. I get paid. You gradually make it look more and more like real life until this becomes their default. We've got other options too. We could connect them all. Drop it, if they already have something, drop it. Here you go, not a big deal. Food manners is just impulse control around food, which can, give you a starting point for other behaviors. And I don't remember this one, leave it, I guess. So I see something good, I can control my own impulses and leave it alone. Teach, prevent, pay. I hope that helps. This is already very long. Let me know if you have any questions or requests. Let me know, in the comments, let's go through your issue. Give me an issue and then we'll do teach, prevent, pay for it. That's a good exercise. Like I said, this is for good manner stuff. If your dog is barking because they have canine cognitive dysfunction or they're, stuck out on a chain 24/7, that's something else. But if this is just doggies doing doggy stuff that we don't seem to like, then apply behavior analysis, teach, prevent, pay. Give me some comments. Let me know if you have any questions or requests. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.